Welcome to a special edition of the Music Mania podcast. I'm your host, Clint Switzer, and we're going to be getting into the down and dirty blues on this show, as we're going to be joined by famed musician, the Chief, Eddy Clearwater, going to be joining us right here to talk about his upcoming tour, still performing at the age of 83 and recording in 2014. He released an album, a live album, Soul Funky. You can check it out on his website, his tour dates, his information, all there. It is eddyclearwater.com. I tell you what, if you know me, you know I'm a fan of blues music, and I'm a fan of Eddy's. Very much influenced and very much in the vein of the Chuck Berry style of guitar playing. Eddy has done it all, traveling the world, playing music. He is a true legend in the blues world. And I tell you what, it is our pleasure to go ahead and welcome Eddy to the show. And to start off, I want to go back to 2014 when you released your last album, Soul Funky. How big was that for you, and how important was that album for your career?
A lot of my fans had been asking, because my wife sells my CDs on my engagements. So when they come up to buy a CD, a lot of my fans would ask Renee, does he have a new live album out? So I hadn't done one in quite a few years. So she said, why don't you do a live album? And I was going to be appearing at Space on my next upcoming date. And Space is a recording studio, goes into the club. So I said, well, maybe I can do an album on my birthday at Space in Evanston. So I called up the company and made arrangements for them to set up and to record me live. So that's how that came about. And so I had a lot of fun doing it.
Well, absolutely. I think that's very important, because I think your style of music and your playing and the soulful blues that you portray, it just comes off better in a live setting. And to hear that recording, I think that's very important for an artist like you, to have that live setting with the crowd and feeling.
With the crowd, with the interaction, yes, sure. Absolutely.
Well, you've done so much, and you've just been honored in so many ways. You've been nominated for a Grammy. You've won so many awards. You've been honored with a blues marker on the Mississippi Blues Trail. Is there anything that stands out in your career that you've done that you just can't, that you can't believe it, that you've accomplished, that that's got to just feel good for you?
I'll tell you, Clint, it just feels very, very good. I was real honored when I got inducted into the Blues Hall of Fame. Also, when I got got nominated for a Grammy. I didn't win, but I was nominated, so I felt very, very good. Very, very, very proud of it.
And
very thankful.
And I think Buddy Guy actually won that Grammy, so you can't be too upset.
Buddy Guy won against me. I ran into Buddy. I told him, I said, they gave you my award. They were supposed to give that to me. So we had a good laugh.
Well,
so you got my Grammy. I had a good time, though. It was a really good time.
Well, Eddy, your career goes back so far, and you grew up in Mississippi. Just talk about growing up in Mississippi, and from what I've understood, what I've read about you, that you grew up, kind of listening to gospel, and that's kind of was your start into music. Just talk about how important gospel was for you, and kind of growing up in Mississippi, and kind of what you were listening to, and what formed your musical, ideas growing up in Mississippi.
Well, gospel is very, very important to me, highly important, because that was my way of life. Being from the South, and my grandparents, they brought me up to go to church and listen to the gospel. So that's how I grew up. So it's very important, and it stayed with me, from time to time. I'm thinking of doing one gospel song on this album. I'm really giving it some serious consideration. So it's very important. That's how I met the Five Blind Boys of Alabama. I was in Birmingham. And they went on to be a very, very outstanding group worldwide. I got to play guitar with them for a short period of time.
Well, talk about playing guitar left-handed. Because how did this happen? Because you hear someone like Jimi Hendrix that he got a guitar, he had to turn it around and flip it upside down and play it left-handed. Was that kind of the case for you? How did you learn to play left-handed?
No, I tell you what, I didn't change the strings.
Oh.
I just, I'm naturally left-handed, and my teacher in school used to always try to get me to be right-handed because from where I grew up, it was like the devil. You belong to the devil if you're left-handed, something like that. They had a thing going about that. So she would try to get me to write on the blackboard with my right hand, and I learned to write with my right hand. And every time the teacher wasn't looking, I would go right back to that left hand, and she would take a ruler and come up to the blackboard and hit me on the hand. No left hand, right hand. I go right back to my right hand. But the minute I got out of school, I went right back to the left hand. So I've been left-handed ever since. So I figured if I'm going to play guitar, I have to play it from the left side with the E string on top, as opposed to bottom. So that's how I grew up, and that's what I had to do.
Well, you're really well known.
I'll give you an illustration. I'll make a call on my acoustic right now. Hold on 1 second.
Sure.
Hang on, sure.
Yeah.
So I just have to do it left-handed. So
wow.
Got stuck with it that way.
That's great, and it's a very distinct sound. And thank you so much for that. That was a real treat, Eddie, for you to do that. And
it's a pleasure.
You how different was it, because you wound up in Chicago and being a very big part of the Chicago blues scene in the early 1950s. Talk about how important it was for you to why you moved to Chicago and how important that was for you for your career, because Chicago had such an unbelievably eclectic scene at the time. How important was that for you to be in Chicago in the early 50s?
Okay, what happened? My uncle Houston, we used to live together when we were in the South. We lived with my grandmother, and he always knew I was very, very interested in playing music. And he knew I wanted to pursue it as a career. So he came to Chicago before I did. And he went around and met people like Muddy Waters, Howlin' Wolf, Jimmy Reed, Little Walter. He had met all these people in person, Little Mac Simmons and Elmo James. So he wrote me a letter to Birmingham, Alabama, saying, "You always wanted to pursue music as a career." He said, "If you come to Chicago, you'll get that opportunity, because there's people in Chicago play blues every night as a career, like Muddy Waters and Howlin' Wolf and Jimmy Reed." So I wrote him back and said, send me a ticket. I'll be on my way. So my grandmother gave me permission to go as long as I was with my uncle in Chicago at 8:15. So he sent me a ticket on the Greyhound bus on September of 1950. And that's when I took the Greyhound. I came to Chicago to live with my uncle until I got established. So that's how I translated.
And which is, the music was changing so much in the early 1950s. I always credit guys like Little Richard, Chuck Berry, and Bo Diddley as sort of breaking down ethnic barriers, really. And music has always done that. I think that's what's wonderful about music, is there is, it's something that goes beyond race and it goes beyond so many things. But talk about those guys and kind of how I know Chuck Berry was a big influence on your music, but Bo Diddley, Little Richard, and what those guys did, leading to kind of white people kind of, I don't know, stealing it or taking it for what they wanted to do with, Elvis and Jerry Lee Lewis kind of took what those guys were doing and made it more accessible to, commercially acceptable. But talk about those guys and kind of how they influenced you, the Chuck Berrys, the Little Richards, and the Bo Diddleys.
Yeah, God Almighty. Yeah, Chuck Berry, he was a real pioneer. He was like a inventor, like a renovator, really. And Chuck, when I heard my first song I heard by Chuck was Oh Baby Doll. I had a little Ford car, and I was driving down Michigan Avenue, and it came on the radio, Oh Baby Doll, when bells rang out the summer breeze. We'll sing the Lord Alma Mater and think about the used to be. And I heard his guitar sound and what he was singing, and I really was attracted to it. This guy is so different the way he sounds. And I followed his career from that on. The next song I heard was Maybelline, and then Johnny Be Good. I said, oh, then I was totally hooked on what he was doing, because it was so outstanding. Like the way he placed his words and the sound of his guitar, it was just totally fascinating. Then Bo Diddley, like you said, Bo Diddley, and with Chess Records also. And I just gave me a lot to go on. And Muddy Water. I heard Muddy when I was a kid in the South, but I had never met him, so I got to meet him in Chicago also. And we became very good friends also.
It's one thing that's very fascinating to me, and we talked to a lot of musicians, a lot of hard rock guitarists from the 70s and 80s that a lot of them will say that the riff, Johnny Be Good, the riff from Johnny Be Good is what influenced them. Also, the song Lucille by Little Richard, and just
absolutely.
His over-the-top nature and a lot of people don't realize how much that influenced rock and hard rock music even into the 60s and 70s.
Lucille and Long Tall Sally,
yeah. And do you think those artists get the due that do you think they get the accolades that they deserve? I'm talking about people like you and Chuck and these guys that really were, as rock entered its formative years in the early 50s, do you think those guys get their due? I mean, obviously Jerry Lee Lewis, Elvis Presley, Buddy Holly, those guys became huge and commercially popular, but those artists really laid the groundwork for what those guys did, didn't they?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So they made the way for rock and roll to become worldwide music, and it did. So I think, in a great sense, they accomplished that mission, even though they never got the fame and recognition as people like Elvis Presley and, say, Jerry Lee Lewis. But they gained worldwide fame through other people. They really wanted to lay the foundation for these people to come along and pick up and take it and run with it. So I think they did a good job with that. Just like the blues, Muddy Waters laid the foundation with the blues with Muddy Waters and B.B. King. So now it's worldwide with people like Eric Clapton and people like that. They took it worldwide, and all of the kids know about blues now. Whether they like it or not, they know about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And when you were starting out, and you come from Chicago and you started touring the world, what are some cities that you traveled to that really kind of embraced the blues and embraced what you guys were doing? I know I'm from Kansas City here, and Kansas City has a great tradition in jazz, as does St. Louis.
Oh, yes.
But talk about some of the other cities that you went to that kind of shared the passion that Chicago had for the blues.
Oh God, all over, like Memphis and Boston, New York, and then I traveled overseas quite a bit, a lot, in Europe, in France, and Germany, the Netherlands, Spain, and Switzerland, Sweden. It's just all over. My first European tour, I did Europe. I did Sweden, France, a whole bunch of countries. Buddy Guy, myself, and Junior Wells, and Jimmy Johnson, and we were all on a tour, like a 3-week tour together, and it was just great. Everywhere we went, people just really migrated to the blues.
And what is the blues seems to have something to me that no other style of music has, and maybe it's to me, blues fans are the most loyal, fans in music, that they follow everything that an artist does, and they're really into the style. Is that have you found that to be correct? That when you travel around, these people, that blues fans are just really, really super loyal to this type of music.
Very loyal.
Yeah,
you are quite correct. Yes, you're right, Clint. Yeah, they are very loyal, and in most cases they're very kind-hearted people. They just ask for the love of the music, and they treat you with so much loyalty. So it's just a good profession for me, and I've been so blessed being around it and being a part of it. So it's just a blessing. Your
nickname for so many years, of course, has been the Chief. You've been known to wear Native American headdresses on stage. As I understand it, you had some Cherokee blood, I believe. Is that correct?
Cherokee. I'm looking at my grandmother right now. I'm on a picture on my wall.
Oh, wow.
She was Cherokee Indian. Yeah, she looks just like a Cherokee, just like an Indian.
Wow.
Yeah, she was Cherokee. Yeah.
That's really cool.
My grandfather also was Cherokee.
So you, growing up, just culturally, you must have had a lot of different things in your life that kind of influenced you. I mean, if you have a grandmother that's Cherokee, you grow up in Mississippi in a time where music and gospel music is becoming so popular. You must have had just a lot of different cultural things to influence you growing up. That must have been a really unbelievable upbringing you must have had.
Oh yeah, well, I was really was mainly influenced by gospel and blues music, and but then I felt very connected with like the Indians and all of it. Very connected. So it's just a blessing to be here and being able to participate.
And here, after more than 60 years in the business, the fact that you're still active, still recording, and still playing live, I mean, is it important for your legacy that you continue to do this because you're someone that's so renowned and so recognized? But I mean, you must just love music. You must love playing for people, and just must have such a passion for what you do that you just keeps you driving. It keeps you going.
Absolutely, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, if it don't be for the blues, I don't know what I would be doing right now. Tell you the truth, it's not necessary just for the money, but it's for the fun of it and the enjoyment of the blues, which makes me happy. The only time I'm totally happy and have no problems about anything is when I'm on stage.
Yeah,
I'm problem free when I'm on stage. I have no worries. I have no pain and no sorrows. I'm just enjoying myself and hoping people are enjoying themselves.
That's what it's all about, and that's what you've encapsulated.
It's like being in heaven to be on stage.
Yeah.
It's the sound of the music and the feeling and of the people and the smiles on their faces, and it's just great.
And memories to last a lifetime. I mean, the things you've done and the people you've met. For one, I think you should write a book if you haven't already. That would be something else. That'd be a good read. You should definitely write a book at some point if you get time.
Some people have talked about that. And my publisher, she started working on the idea for me to write a book. So I guess she'll probably get back to me, and she approached me about it.
That'd be great.
So we'll sit down and talk about it and see what we can come up with.
That'd be great. I think artists like you should be so celebrated and so revered, because without people like yourself, modern music just isn't what it is. People, you guys laid the groundwork. You did everything to help make music what it became and what it is today. And what it is today is not necessarily my favorite thing in the world, but I go back and listen to what you guys did, and that's my kind of music. So I'm just thankful for you to keep doing that and to have brought your music to so many people. That's just wonderful, and you're a national treasure, Eddie. Let's put it that way. You're a national treasure, and that's you bet, man. Well, I tell you what, we're gonna come see you here on May 6th in Joplin, Missouri. Can't wait.
I'll be looking forward to meeting you for sure.
I'm gonna have to come shake your hand for sure, and I can't wait to see the show. The website, guys, everybody needs to go to the website. It is eddyclearwater.com. You can get all the info on tour dates and the latest album, which is Soul Funky, and be checking because there's going to be a new album coming out soon, my man. That's correct, and we can't wait to hear that.
Yes. Oh, thank you so much. Wish me luck with it. I'm going to work hard on it and try and work until I get it right.
Hey, best of luck, Eddie. You're a great one. We can't wait to see you in person, and best of luck. We will be in touch, my man, and thanks for everything.
Thank you. I'll see you in Joplin, Missouri at the Coda House.
You betcha. I'll be there. Thank you so much.
May the 6th. You and me. We'll do it.
I'll do it. We'll be there. Sounds good. Thank you.
Say hi to everybody for me.
Will do.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.